What's up everyone, it's Sprometheus, and today I want to talk about Starbucks. And no matter how we in the specialty coffee industry feel about how they roast their coffee, or what they consider a macchiato, we do actually owe them a bit of respect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're infallible or that they don't have their faults. A quick Google search will show you some pretty clear reasons as to why they aren't perfect. Like most massive companies, some of their controversies are pretty significant, like their questionable coffee sourcing practices and their labor disputes. Others aren't so bad, like their underfilled lattes and that nightmarish mix of artificial coloring and sugar known as a unicorn frappuccino. And some are just pure nonsense.
They had this thing going back a year ago with me talking about semen and Starbucks lattes, and they do put it in there. And many people slammed me and said I should get off of it.
But now that I've gotten some of their faults out of the way, I want to talk about a few things that they've done right, and things that we as current day specialty coffee folks are still reaping the benefits of. Early on, coffee was looked at as a cheap daily commodity or necessity, but as Starbucks rose to dominance, they began to sway that opinion with the masses. In the beginning, they wanted to bring that Italian espresso bar experience to the United States, and they aimed at turning that everyday kind of mundane errand of going out to get coffee into something special, a social event, a treat, and a luxury. As it progressed, a cup of Starbucks coffee was no longer just a cup of coffee. It was a status symbol, like driving a Mercedes or wearing a Rolex. It became part of a lifestyle. And it became that way because the expense of a cup of coffee was no longer just a few cents on the dollar. Instead, generally you're paying about $5 for that symbol of caffeinated luxury.
Would you like some foam in your coffee? It's called a cappuccino, and wait till you see what it costs.
I still remember when the first Starbucks opened in my small hometown of Great Falls, Montana, and my parents called it $5 because it was so expensive to go there. Fast forward to today in modern third wave specialty coffee, and most customers who come through don't bat an eye at a $5 latte, and my mom only slightly begrudgingly pays extra for oat milk. And for normalizing paying a higher price for a product that we once looked at as an everyday afterthought, we have Starbucks to thank. A lot of people working in coffee today started their career as a barista, and a lot of those started wearing a green apron. And if serving the adoring public at a Starbucks drive-thru didn't completely crush their soul and their ability to provide customer service, a lot of those moved over to the specialty side. Starbucks is often the butt of a lot of jokes within specialty circles, but the fact remains is that many of our fellow third wavers wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the passion created at Starbucks, whether they were there because they were interested in coffee or they were just looking for a paycheck. And to be honest, when I worked in cafes, some of my favorite coworkers and best baristas were those who started at Starbucks because they ingrained such a great work ethic and no task was ever beneath them. So whether it was trying to pour latte art with that massive pitcher, or just being interested in the story and the journey behind each coffee they served, Starbucks served as the flame that lit the spark of passion for many people in today's coffee industry. Espresso is pretty commonplace these days, so much that we may take it a bit for granted. But we have Starbucks to thank for that, at least to a certain extent. Of course, they didn't invent espresso, but they turned it into a more widely known beverage across the US, who more or less made our coffee from powder in a tin can. If they hadn't expanded in popularity, then we wouldn't have cafes slinging Spro within a block or two in nearly any direction in most cities. Plus, they were instrumental in bringing La Marzocco to the United States because most of their early cafes used that OG workhorse, the Linea Classic. There's even more to this story, and I could go on, but the fact remains is that Starbucks was a major contributor to the foundation where today's specialty coffee industry was built. The price, passion, and popularity of coffee, at least in the United States, were laid either entirely or in part by Starbucks. So as easy as it is to dunk on Starbucks and their coffee that tastes like the bottom of a fireman's boot, we should do so without malice, all while remembering how we got here and who did the early heavy lifting. And on that note, it's time to wrap up this rant, and I turn the conversation over to you. What are your thoughts on Starbucks as a whole? Did you get your start there? Drop your answers and anything else you feel compelled to say in the comment section down below, and as always, I'll see y'all next week. And of course, a big thank you to my May Patreons, Ads, Jacob P, Christopher, Squeegee Rowe, Brian, Lisa, Andre, Sean, Noel, Spookus, Samantha, Claire, Stephen, Kendall, Bound Coffee, James K, Josh Horrison, Corey C. Curry, Jeff Roth, Joey N, Thomas P, UK Espresso, Tim, Jason C, Jerry, Matt, Ray, Ninja Warrior Coffee, Home Barista Coach, Gumby, Testing 123, Zachary V, Tyler F, Robert Underdunk, Jeffrey R, BJK Cafe, Chris M, Daniel P, Mike B, Brian M, Brandon B, Tyler M, Sebastian, Matthew C, JRC, Absolute, Stephen G, Alex T, Jose, Lauren, Keefe, Stephen A, and Jacob, and of course a big thank you to the barista and barback tiers. If you want information on my Patreon, there's a link in the description and in the upper right hand corner right now. And of course, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Follow my Instagram at Sprometheus for content throughout the week, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.